This episode, we're going to talk about how recovery isn't actually rest and why it's important for cheerleaders to do recovery work in order to help prevent injuries. Welcome to the Cheer Athlete Podcast, where we bring coaches, parents, and athletes expert tips and advice to help keep cheerleaders healthy, strong, and at the top of their game. Now let's go. So let's dive in. This is going to be a good episode. So why does recovery need its own conversation? Most cheerleaders know they need to do some sort of stretching routine before they work out. They know that they're going to be working hard at practice. Perhaps they know they need to do some strength work as well. But then the end of practice comes and they do nothing. And last week's focus was really on warm-ups and preparation. I do think having a good warm-up routine is one of the best ways to help reduce a risk of injury. However, we also need to do the work to recover after an afterward workout. And that recovery time actually helps our body to heal. It helps our body to recover after a hard workout, to reduce tension, reduce tightness, and get everything to feel better. Preparation doesn't end when practice ends. We need to take the time and focus on some work on recovery. This doesn't mean that we need to stretch aggressively, and it doesn't also mean that we go home and we do nothing and then just stiffen up and tighten up. Today, in this video, we're going to talk on this podcast, we're going to talk about what recovery actually means and what it actually isn't. I do have some notes, and I will be reading a little bit from there. Just kind of keep me on track. So stay with me and bear with me as I navigate them. I just got finished filming a bunch of videos for my injury prevention starter kit. And one of the ones that stood out to me was recovery, and how I don't really talk about that as much on this podcast or on my social media. But I think it's really important. The biggest problem we have is we don't really do any recovery work. We don't think of post-practice as being a time for our bodies to recover, or post-workout, or post-practice, or competition. We have to take that time, and we don't really think about that. And recovery is actually stretching and rest. And rest doesn't mean that we have to take complete time off. Stretching doesn't automatically equal recovery. Getting in and doing aggressive stretching is actually going to make muscles tighten up and be more sore. Rest also doesn't mean just lying still and doing nothing. Overstretching when you're tired will actually increase irritation. It might mask fatigue. It can delay true recovery. We want to create gentle movement, quieting movement, getting the nervous system to calm down, and taking our time with it, and just trying to feel what we feel. I in that clinic, I try to teach this online also. I think it's really important that we understand what our body feels like, what our body, when does something feel like a nice stretch? Stretching should feel delicious. It shouldn't feel icky. It's not unusual to have stiffness and tightness after a workout. It's not unusual to be sore. You can have some back soreness that's just muscular. But if we're not taking the time to recover and actually let those muscles go through their normal range, in a range that feels safe and good, then our body's going to recoil, and it just keeps making it tighter, and then it leads to more weakness, and then our bodies say, when? So taking that time to recovery, it helps the body feel safe and be able to kind of reset, and it doesn't force it to loosen up. So recovery actually is a way to kind of regulate your nervous system. We go through life in general on the go. We are running from school or work to get your kids to practice. Your kids get into practice. They are going hard for 2 to 3 hours at a time. Maybe they have privates. Maybe they are getting yelled at because they didn't quite hit, or maybe they were late and they get yelled at, and then their nervous system gets jacked up again. Then they have to get home and they have to do their homework, and they have to eat, and they have to get to bed at a reasonable time. And we are just chaotic. Maybe you're listening to the news and you just get fried. Our body needs recovery time to be able to quiet, and our nervous system has to be able to chill out and quiet it down. So taking that time to quiet the nervous system after a practice or a warm up, it can really do a load of good at helping your tissues to kind of quiet down, to take away that stress, to take out the angst in your shoulders and let everything just ease. It also helps to prepare for the next practice, so getting our bodies to quiet down and to move a little easier makes tomorrow's workout go that much better. In cheerleading, we are doing a lot of repetitive jumping. We are landing hard. We are standing on one leg. We're putting a lot of load on the body. We are having to hold stunts all the time, and like we're holding our breath as we're doing it, because we all do. Let's face it. It creates a little tension in your body, but when we don't actually exhale, it creates more anxiety and tension through our bodies. And then muscles don't actually learn how to stop firing. We have long competitions, we have long weekends, we're on the go all the time, and that just creates more tension through the body. I know that when we are performing a stunt, we need to be able to feel that tightness, feel our quads. If you're a flyer, the kneecap goes up, your quads are tight, you see muscles in the thigh, and it's just jacked. You're squeezing your bum as hard as you can and pulling everything in tight and really getting solid and tight. We want to do that, but we don't want to walk around like that. We need to allow the muscles to relax. One of the first things I teach anybody that's had knee surgery is how to tighten their kneecap and how to relax their kneecap. You can do that sitting here. You can tighten your shoulder, tighten your bicep, make a muscle, make it as tight as you can, and then let it relax. My arm didn't flop, right? It's still got some tension in there. You could let it flop, and you can just let it be loose. If you've got a shoulder problem, letting it be loose is the best thing ever. Things are kind of jamming, and just letting it hang is really important. But most people will tighten everything up and not really loosen that up. So learning how to tighten and relax will allow the muscle to function more normally. Will allow the muscle to function normally, so that it doesn't hold on to that tissue tension. Because tissue tension is a sign of dysfunction, that something's not right. And that's what leads to injuries. So taking the time to recover, in the starter kit, I talked about breathing. I talked about hip mobility and ankle mobility, and gave some exercises in that. But also, you can have them before they go to bed at night, tighten all their muscles as tight as they can. Take a deep breath in and then exhale and let that tension go, and really kind of let all the muscles relax. And then they start to get the feel of what it feels like to tighten a muscle and relax a muscle, so that when they get home and they're going through a recovery process, they can actually learn how to help and allow their muscles to quiet down, and reduce that tension throughout. If recovery isn't making you feel better after a workout, and you're not feeling like that tension has released a little bit, then the recovery method hasn't done its job. How do you know if recovery is actually working? Signs of recovery is the muscle soreness you may have muscle soreness kind of throughout. It's not a sharp pain. It's just general, it's like, oh yeah, when you move, something's feeling it. But it's not sharp, it's not ouch. Like, that you work muscles, but it's not dabbing. So recovery can help that by, it should feel better the next day. It may not be gone. So if you had a hard workout, that delayed onset muscle soreness can last 2 or 3 days. But if you're doing some gentle mobility work and you're doing some easy stretching and really kind of listening to your body, that tension should feel better the next day, or gradually getting better. The movement should continue to improve over the course of time. If they're coming out of something and they actually had an injury, like taking time, they're not limping and they're not guarding and protecting, that it's gradually getting better, and energy levels will rebound. They might come home depleted because they've just had the day. Maybe they need some fuel. Fuel can actually be signs will help the body recover. Water will help the body recover. When we do this, we have better energy the next morning. If they're depleted, if their pain is lingering, if they are just exhausted, and if soreness just kind of keeps getting worse, then the recovery methods need to change, and there might be something more to get looked at. And this can actually lead to more injuries. And if you have sharp pain that's continuing, or muscle soreness that's not getting better over the course of time, then that's something to go get checked out for sure. Red flags might be if they can't get comfortable when they're sleeping. Usually, if it's an overuse and things like, we might be stiff and sore, and maybe we can't get comfortable, but you fall asleep, and maybe it's a little tough when you roll over and it wakes you up a little, but then like you go back to sleep. That's not unusual. But if somebody can't get comfortable in bed and they're just having, that unrelenting pain, it's been too much and their body's not resting and recovering. Now that could be a sign that something is more of a red flag and needs to get checked out. It's something for you to listen to. It's something to just be aware of. Rest and recovery should actually help your body feel better. It shouldn't wake you up at night. When our bodies are recovering normally and there's not signs of an injury, we're going to be much more relaxed. And once you get comfortable, like, you might have some soreness, but it's not going to be pain when you wake up. So taking yourself through some recovery processes can help this to prevent that from happening. What can you do after practice? Again, gentle movement. I like pelvic tilts, just nice, easy stretching immediately after practice. You can get in and hold stretches for a good 30 to 60 seconds. That's a time to just sort of work on flexibility a little bit, because you're not going to be using your muscles again right after. But it shouldn't be super aggressive. You just had a hard practice, like going to the point where it's a medium stretch and holding that for 30 seconds, maybe doing 2 or 3 repetitions. That can help. When you get home and we're looking to just quiet the nervous system down again, exploring motion, going gently through full ranges of motion, bringing the knees to your chest, rocking your knees side to side, taking slow, easy, deep breaths, and just letting tension go can really help the tissues to get less stiff and less sore, and help them to feel better. Talked a little bit, I think, about hydration, like making sure you're hydrated. Muscle cramping that's happening in the middle of the night probably could be an overuse. It could be a sign of dehydration. So making sure we're having proper electrolytes, making sure we're eating and fueling our body properly. That helps the body to grow. It helps the muscles to grow so that we can get better muscle contractions. Things, having a solid meal like protein and a carbohydrate and vegetables after dinner or for dinner can be a big help in helping the body to recover. Not too heavy, but enough to fuel the body, let the glycogen and glucose come out, and let everything feed all the muscles to help it recover. That's how you get stronger in the process. Fueling the body for what the activity that we're going to do, getting enough rest will allow the body to recover. Trying to make sure you space out those hard days. If you're a coach that's listening, 3 to 5 hard days in a row and then competition is just a lot for these kids, and they really need some time to take it a little easier. So give yourself some waves, do some more recovery time in between, and allow them to go easier on some days and push harder when they're more rested and they're recovered. I always talk about those breathing routines. I think that's really important. There's tons of ways, and you can look a lot of different exercises, but post-practice is a time to work on quieting exercises and quieting breathing, and just really longer exhales. And we can get ourselves in and just kind of focus on the breath and practice that longer exhale. It will help our core stability, and it really reduces the tension and stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that rest and digest and recovery system. Recovery can become injury prevention also in letting the body heal. Most cheerleading injuries are not sudden. There are sudden injuries that you come out of a stunt and something happens, but there's a lot of overuse injuries. We talked about this before also. So when we can put recovery efforts into our routine, it allows those overuse injuries to not happen. Things like tendinitises and even ankle sprains, like making sure we have some good mobility into our routine getting the nervous system to quiet down, doing some cat cows on hands and knees to get your spine moving. All of that can help with injury prevention. A lot of the exercises you would do in a warm up to be done post workout as recovery. Maybe you're going slower. Maybe you're pausing. So in a warm up, I like an adductor rock with a leg out to the side, sitting back on your heels and rocking back and forth. You could do that before and nudging it and gradually going back and forth, but then maybe you come after and you go into it and sit and just hold and breathe into it. Try to get the oxygen into the inner thigh, and then doing some slow, easy rocks. Slow rocking, rotation, those are all quieting um, uh, techniques for the nervous system, and it really kind of tells everything to just chill. So the more we can do that in general, the more that will help. Recovery will give you information, because if you're not feeling better the next day, something's not right. So if you come home, it's not a catastrophic injury that needs an x-ray, but they're really sore. They wake up the next morning, they're like, yeah, it's still a little sore, but not bad. That's something, keep going. If it's more sore after, then that might be a sign that you have to ease back. You have to talk to the coach. You have to let them know what's going on and take the time. It might just mean you have to do more specific exercises or more specific mobility work to help that soreness reduce. It doesn't always mean that there's a big problem, but it is a symptom that you need to pay attention to. When we ignore what our body feels like and we kind of keep going or we keep pushing, it just leads to more problems down the road. So we have to start to pay attention. We have to know what it's feeling like. We have to know what it's supposed to feel like, as opposed to, hey, I've got this new pain. Is that normal? Quite often in the clinic, people will say, oh, when I do this, it hurts. And I'm like, well, so if I'm pulling my leg up in a hamstring stretch, and they're like, oh, it hurts behind my leg. Okay, one, is it a stretch or is it ripping and terrible pain? Oh, it's a stretch, but it's a lot. Okay, let's ease back out of it. Let's make sure your form is good. How's this feel? That information is really important. And when we start to tune into that, know that we don't just have to be in a painful stretch, and we don't have to have ouch pain as we're moving. Or if we shift a position and it makes that ouch pain away, then we're good to go and we can keep moving on. So recovery and doing recovery practices where we're tuning into our body, like allowing things to tighten and relax and checking in with the breathing, can really help your athletes be aware of what their body's supposed to feel like and help it to move forward. So why I spend so much time helping parents and teaching parents what to listen to, what is supposed to feel like, what you're supposed to move. Questions come up all the time. Is this normal? Should we do this? And a lot of it is, it depends. It depends on what they're feeling. It depends on how they're moving. And the more you start to pay attention to that and look at, like, are they moving normally? I can pick you apart and know what the exact angles are, how much motion you're supposed to have. At home, like, does it look normal? Can I do what they're trying to do? Most of the time I can't do what the 14-year-olds are able to do, but it should look fairly similar. It shouldn't be ouch. It shouldn't be shifting away from something. If so, then we need to back up and we need to find out what's going on and take that time in recovery. I talk a lot about having a day off and having a period of time off. Ideally, a good 3 months would be ideal, from away from cheer related aspects. Doesn't mean they don't condition. It doesn't mean they don't do anything. It doesn't mean they have to not do any cheer-like activity. But the intensity of cheer, really, we need a break, and our bodies need a break. And that may mean we do strength work, and it may mean we do conditioning, but changing what we do can help your body to function better and be stronger as a whole. So you've heard me talk about the injury prevention toolkit for cheer moms. And if you want help with recovery, plus knowing when soreness is normal and when it's not, everything is in this injury prevention starter kit. So you're going to get information about nutrition. You're going to get checklists. You'll get decision guides. There's videos. There's printables. It's a way to help reduce your guessing. And it's just a nice consolidated toolkit that you can watch at your own time. And so that's out and available now, and it's just $5. It's meant to complement what you're already doing. It's meant to give you more information and a way to see, okay, am I on the right track? helping my athlete to be better and reduce those injuries. I also have warm-ups and cool downs in this that will help you to not add more to your plate, but also just give you some tools to use. So remember, recovery needs to be part of the training. They need to have a warm-up, you need to do strength, conditioning, practice work, skill work, and then they need recovery practice at the end. And this may be a matter of a team stretch before they leave, or just having your cheerleader stop and do some stretching. And then when you get home, really focusing on more nervous system resets and quieting. Helping them to do this is being aware of what your body is feeling like will help your cheerleader to panic less, will help you to panic less when you can determine, like, okay, is this normal? Is this not normal? When is this supposed to be feeling like this? Is it not? And knowing what your body feels like at a baseline will help you know that. Making small adjustments in how you move can make a big difference in your ability to perform. If it hurts to fully lock your knee and you're hyperextending anyways, what does it feel like to straighten your knee but not really lock it and tighten the muscles on either side? Just takes a matter of being aware of your body and taking the time to do that recovery and finding ways to relax that will help your body to learn that more and help your athletes to know that. And it'll give you as a parent or a coach more tools to help them know how to feel that also. So warm-ups help us prepare the body to be able to train. Recovery programs, recovery prepares the body to train again. So warm-ups prepare your body to train. Recovery prepares your body to train again. And next week, let's talk a little bit about overuse injuries and what those look like and how to help those so that we are feeling good and keeping on the right track using these recovery processes. So tune in for next week. If you are not already subscribed, please subscribe to the podcast. Please share it with somebody who might benefit from listening to this, with your coaches, with your other cheer parents. Let's get the information out there so we help our athletes stay healthy and happy and on the mat forever. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, when in doubt, breathe out. Take life one step at a time. You can do anything you put your mind to. And as my friend Drew Gallagher said, you're responsible for your own vibes. So go get the day.